सर्वे वाले ने देखी ड्राइंग वाला ने 9:30 सर्वे we have a bank This being on YouTube and that started?
Yes, yes.
I just got a message.
Namaste. A very warm good morning, everyone. I, Ishita Gupta, am privileged to be your host for today's ceremony, and IIT Kanpur is delighted to welcome the legendary Pioneer Batch class of 1965 to its 60th reunion. Let's be honest, it would be unfair to call this just a reunion. This is a gathering of legends who walked these hallowed halls when the ink of IIT Kanpur's history was still fresh. And it brings me immense joy to share that we recently celebrated 65 glorious years of the Institute's foundation. Ladies and gentlemen, IIT Kanpur सिर्फ एक इंस्टीट्यूट नहीं, एक एहसास है. 5 साल, एक फैमिली और यादों का पिटारा. This esteemed institute has nurtured dreams and ignited minds. The class of 65 will always be special, being the very first star in its constellation. You saw it all begin, from the foundation laying of this institute to, well, we'll get to those stories soon enough. वक्त के पन्नों पर लिखी कहानियां आज फिर से दोहराने का इरादा है. यादें ताज़ा करेंगे इस रियूनियन के संग, फिर से वही IIT कानपुर के दिन याद दिलाने का वादा है. It's not the years that define a reunion, but the shared laughter, the remembered stories, and the enduring connections forged during your time as a student of IIT Kanpur. वक्त बदलता है, लोग बदलते हैं, लेकिन यारियां नहीं बदलती. And looking at this vibrant group, it is very clear that the IITK spirit never fades. So, why don't we hit rewind, turn back the clock, and relive those student days? What do you say? Yes? Fabulous. So with this, I request you to clap 3 times at the count of 3 and then shout 60 as loud as you can. 1, 2, 3, 60! Oh, come on. You all have witnessed the genesis of this place, which calls for more Josh. Show the IITK spirit. IITK tempo? High hai. IITK tempo? High hai. Wow. क्या बात है. That's the spirit.
पायनियर बैच का टेम्पो और भी हाई है.
Yes, पायनियर बैच का टेम्पो हाई है. तो चलिए चलते हैं उस जमाने में when there were no dial phones. The only modes of communication used to be letters, private messengers, telegram, trunk call, and money orders from Pitaji when your pockets used to be lighter than a कागज का फूल. ये तो तब की बात है जब राइवलरी के लिए कोई दूसरा हॉल एग्जिस्ट ही नहीं करता था. The mess was run by the batch itself, and पूरे महीने के मेस का बिल कुछ 30 रुपए का होता था. Am I right? 90? There was no JEE entrance exam to take the admission and no swimming pool. पनकी केनाल में ही सब स्विमिंग कॉम्पिटिशन्स खेलते थे. Yes, yes. कितने साल बीत गए ना, लेकिन ऐसा लगता है जैसे कल की ही बात है. It was the golden age of cinema. सभी दीवाने थे दिलीप कुमार, मीना कुमारी, बैजंती माला, नूतन और वहीदा रहमान के. शमी कपूर, with famous movies Mughal Azam, Pyasa and Jungli ruling everybody's hearts. पर आप सभी तो ऑलरेडी हीरो हीरोइन थे इन योर ओन ड्रामास एंड विथ नो गर्ल्स अराउंड लड़कों को ही लड़कियां बनना पड़ता था. एंड आई हैव हर्ड उन्हीं लड़कों को बाद में डेट पर जाने की रिक्वेस्ट आते थे. इज इट ट्रू? लड़कियों की कंपनी मिली भी तो आईआईटी खड़गपुर के स्पोर्ट्स मीट में. Ladies and gentlemen, with this batch, the glorifying history of IIT Kanpur is associated. When the class is started on the borrowed premises of HBTI for 2.5 years. And Dr. P.K. Kelkar, the first director, laid the foundation stone of this institute. Silicon Valley वालों के तो होश ही उड़ जाएंगे ये जानकर कि the IBM 1620 computer was brought on a bullock cart to the campus, which later led to the establishment of the first computer center and the beginning of computer science in India. And how can we forget the 8.5 miles discipline walk led by Professor G.D. Agarwal? And the only Shishupal ji, the man who wore 1,000 hats, bus driver, stage designer, makeup artist, confidant, he was a true gem जो ढूंढने पर भी दोबारा नहीं मिला. All I can say is that we know this place from the story shared by the class of 65. जाने से पहले कुछ कहना चाहूँगी. आप आए यहाँ, हम शुक्रगुजार हैं. दोबारा जल्दी मिलने का फिर इंतज़ार है. आपकी यादें हमारे दिलों में बरकरार हैं. Let's have a big round of applause for the class of 1965. Thank you, everyone. Now, without any further ado, I invite Professor Manindra Agrawal, Director IIT Kanpur, to kindly welcome the batch and share the institutional vision with all of us.
Okay, very warm welcome to the Pioneer Batch graduates who are here today amongst us. It's truly a privilege for me to be standing here in front of you. You know, when you graduated, I was not even born. And I graduated from IIT Kanpur like you, but only 21 years later. And but I've been here practically since then. I left for a few years after my PhD. Then I joined as faculty in '96. And so I can claim to have seen since '80s the evolution of the institute. Of course, the first 2 decades I missed, but that experience, if I may say, and observations have left some certain amount of thoughts and impressions on me. And now that I am director of the institute for past about 10 odd months, I have collated those thoughts into a short presentation as to what I think the institute should be doing. And now I can say with confidence, after having discussed and shared this vision with a lot of stakeholders, all our faculty, a large number of alumni, I've been making this presentation to every batch, reunion batch of alumni, and I've also made it to several gatherings of alumni across the world. So that experience tells me that this is kind of a shared vision now. There is a lot of support to this plan from our alumni, from our faculty. So, and I think at least some of you may have seen this already. So this is the last time I'm making this presentation. After this, the presentation is going to change completely, because this is kind of the plan of action. Now we move to the actual action. All right, so for one last time, here's the proposal about what the institute should be doing. Well, IIT Kanpur, you would have seen, is said is still pretty good infrastructure. There are places which require attention, especially old buildings, but otherwise, the setup at the institute, the way it is organized, continues to be very good. And the flora and fauna in the institute is even better. When you came in, this was probably very bare land because it was a farmland. So trees were getting planted. I am sure many of you would have contributed to those plantations. And the result is there for all to see. There's an extremely green campus with a lot of wildlife. Some statistics about the institute. The faculty strength is now touching 600, about 570 now. Student strength is 9,500, thereabouts. And alumni base, of course, continues. It's a monotonically increasing function. This is 45,000 plus now. So the size, you can see, since the institute is over last 6 decades, has grown substantially. Only thing that has not grown is campus area, which stays the same as it was. Although there has been some addition, about 5-acre addition in Noida, where we have a small space there. Okay, some of our traditionally strong departments continue to do well. Computer science, electrical, civil, we can still find in the global rankings a good position. However, while all this is good, there is a clear sense that we have a problem of perception. Don't think anybody can make the case otherwise that everybody, all well-wishers of the institute feel that the institute is not what it was. In terms of let's say perceived ranking of the institution, we used to be number 1 by March some earlier. We are no longer number 1 by any stretch. In any objective ranking that is done these days, we are either number 3 or number 4 within the country. So this has, of course, caused a lot of unhappiness amongst our alumni, particularly, also within the institute as well, because the question naturally arises is, what are we doing wrong? The question has been raised about the research that is happening in the institute, teaching that has happened in the institute. But if you look at the answer, I don't think it is anything that we have done wrong. Rather, it's a combination of two things. One, it's a changing expectations from institutions like us by the society outside. That has changed over time. And we have not done as well to measure up to those expectations. We have done well, but we have not done as well as our competing institutions. So in a relative grading, which we are familiar with, therefore we have fallen. So what are these expectations that have changed? Well, if you look at the history of the institute, first 4 decades, or 5 decades, I would say, 5 decades, up to beginning of this century, the expectations from institutions like us was to do very good teaching, train the next generation well, and we excelled in there by margin. Around the beginning of this decade, at the beginning of this century, end of last century, the expectations changed to do good teaching, but also do good research, publish good papers. It's not that it was not being done earlier, but I'm talking about the expectation from the outside world, from the government, from the others, external stakeholders. They started expecting this from institutions like us. We adopted, but like I said, we did not adopt as well as others did. And those expectations, I would say from the beginning of current decade, are transforming once again to saying that it's not just research that we should be doing, we should also be producing or developing technologies that are going to have a strong impact in the society. This expectations again it was being done earlier, but very little, I would say, in our institution. But now the government and other sections of society is very strongly expect IITs to do that. So there is a change that is happening, and we are undergoing that change right now. And that, so that's the changing expectation is one aspect. The other is that, of course, again, this is a factor that we don't have much influence over, that the Kanpur as a city has pretty much remained stagnant. And these other metro cities particularly have progressed quite a bit, in the sense that there are a lot of interesting things to do there for the especially young generation, which is not there in Kanpur. So whenever there's a young faculty who starts to do job hunting, they also look at the things to do in the city. Also, this spouse who is often a professional employment opportunity, then we kind of come second there. Same with the students also, they are given a choice, they would prefer to go to a bigger city. Earlier also it was probably the case, but earlier there was no choice because Kanpur was by far the number one. So even though it was in Kanpur, people would come. But now since that edge is gone, so then other factors come into play. So the question is, what should be done about this? This is all nice to know the analysis of what went wrong. The question is what to do about this. We can say, okay, these factors were not in our control, so we just have to learn to live with it, the way things have changed, and we adjust and do the best we can. Or we can take an approach that this is not acceptable, we all need to do something about this and address this. So I belong to the second camp, and I'm pretty sure all of you sitting here also belong to the second camp, that let us see and address this. How? The question is how. So for this, after a lot of discussion, I come up with a strategy, with main strategy and two associated ones. The main strategy hinges upon this changing expectations of the outside world from IITs, which is happening right now. So since it's happening right now, we missed the last bus when the expectations changed. We kind of didn't react to it as well as others did. This is our opportunity to react to this in the right time, in the right way, and gain an edge. And that's what leads to the proposal to focus on translational research. This is essentially the research which produces technology, which is impactful to the society. If we do this job well, it will change the perception about the institute in the outside very rapidly. Because if common people, if they are using some technology, and they realize that this is coming from IIT Kanpur, just imagine the kind of impact it will have in their mind space. And the young kids, they will also feel that let's go to Kanpur and do something similar. It will also be an additional source of funds for the institute, which is very critical these days, because Ministry of Education, which is the ministry that funds us, they have simply washed their hands off older IITs, saying, okay, we'll give you salary and other maintenance, but we will not give you any money for infrastructure. Because we have the younger kids, a lot of them to take care of, and our budget is limited. So the 5 old IITs, they've told us, find your money to build infrastructure. Very clear. And the third is this locational disadvantage, which is often talked about. If we focus on this aspect, actually we can turn our location into an advantage. How's that? Well, if you develop a technology which is supposed to have impact on the society at large in India, you first, any such technology you want a test bed for to try it out. Now that test bed exists right outside our gate. Whatever problems the society in India today is facing, you can step out of the gate and you will find all those problems. So your test bed is right here. Unlike metro IITs, whose test bed will be few hundred kilometers away. So this is an advantage. There is another advantage, which is that we are in the state of UP, which today is poised for major industrial growth. The basic infrastructure, the law and order is all well settled. In fact, the UP infrastructure and roads particularly is probably the best in the country today. The government is pushing very hard. They have set up a target of becoming $1 trillion economy in a few years' time, which is actually increasing their GDP by 3x. So it's a very tall order, but they are pushing hard for it. And it's also clear that this kind of multiplier will only happen if tech industry comes to a state. It won't be simple, usual vanilla manufacturing won't lead to this. And that's where IIT Kanpur comes in, because in the state, we are by margin the best in the tech space. And in fact, I've had a couple of meetings with the CM of the state, and where I made this proposal that IIT Kanpur can play a major enabler in 2 ways of bringing deep tech into the state. One is we'll develop some interesting solutions through startups, etc., that will stay in the state. Second, we will, through our network, help facilitate bringing other industries to the state. And our network is, of course, all of you. I mean, our alumni is spread all over the world in the best possible positions. So they collectively, if we focus towards this, I'm very sure that we can, because UP today is ready for facilitating all this. And what needs to be done is to make it happen. So that's the opportunity that we have today. If we execute it well, I don't see any other IIT has that kind of opportunity to do it. They are all. It's not that they are not trying. It's just that as the dice rolls, we have much better scope of doing things better. But in order to do this well, to produce good technology, we need to have developed into good technology, which is within the labs. And in lab you do good things when you have good support available. So that's the traditional R&D work that we certainly need to strengthen in the institute. So that's the key strategy is the translational research, and the first supporting strategy is the strengthening traditional research. And the second one is strengthening teaching. Because in teaching, we have always had an edge over everyone else. I'm sure you all remember still, I mean, just outside we're talking about Professor Raja Raman and so many other names which people still remember the kind of teachers that they were and the impact they have had on our lives. So the teaching aspect we must not forget in our focus, which has happened. In fact, it's happened across the board in institutions, that because of the focus on R&D, less time is being given to teaching, and therefore, simultaneously, class size has gone through the roof. Today we are admitting 1,300 students in every undergraduate batch. So it's just the level and quality of teaching has fallen. So that is something I think as institution, one of the primary job is to educate the next generation. We should certainly need to focus on and improve. Now, let's come back to our key strategy, which is translation research. There are already some very interesting things happening in the institute, and that's what gives me more confidence that we will, if we put our minds to it, we'll succeed very well. First is we have the Center on Cybersecurity that's producing interesting technologies and also deploying them. So what has been done here, there is a Security Operations Center developed in-house, which is today protecting National Highway Authority, all Indian ports, and there is one institution, Bitmesra, also has this technology. There is a blockchain-based data integrity solution is being used to give out degrees in many institutions. It was also used in Karnataka for certain land registries. This also, a number of startups have come out of this initiative. Second is a Center for Development of Intelligent System that focuses on applications of AI in societal challenges. Two examples of their work which is today deployed. First is a grievance management system, which today is in Prime Minister's Office, Ministry of Defense, several other ministries of Government of India. What this does is a portal where the grievances get uploaded, and in, say, Prime Minister's Office, every day we'll find tens of thousands of grievances in different shapes and sizes. Languages are different, some are written, some are verbal, some are videos, and some are direct, some are indirect. So you imagine the different types that there can be, they're all there. So what this tool does is it extracts meaningful information from all of them, correlates them with the earlier grievances, and puts out specific actionable steps for the officers. And this was heavily appreciated by the PMO, who then have instructed all the ministries to adopt this. So we are now in the process of deploying it at other ministries as well. The second solution they developed was on detecting insurance fraud, and the PM Ayushman Yojana, which provide insurance to all poor sections of Indian population. They use this tool to detect the frauds in insurance, and it's saving National Health Authority more than 6 crore rupees per month since its deployment. And this tool today is now getting deployed in other countries as well, South Africa, for example. Third one I want to talk about is our drone setup, where we have a natural advantage having an airstrip with tunnel, etc. on campus, and we have some faculty members today not only designing and developing drones, but also through startups deploying them with the services and other places. And there are some examples of this. In fact, we recently had a workshop with all stakeholders from India participating, with the target of making IIT Kanpur the national hub for the drone technology. And this is moving forward. Finally, the medtech ecosystem we are developing. You are all familiar with the Gangwal School. The focus of the school is to bring the clinical and engineering sides together and aim to develop therapeutics, diagnostics, devices through this interaction. And the work has already started in that. There is a artificial heart valve project that is currently well underway. It has reached the animal trial stage, which is hopefully will be starting soon. And in a few years' time, couple of years, if all goes well, we'll go to human trials, and then we'll see how it goes. So there is huge scope there, of course, with the potential of today AI and other robotics, etc., that they are playing an increasingly important role in the medical space, and we will be the lead institution in the country to make this happen. Okay, so with all this already in place, the idea to expand translation research is centered on creating this center called IOTA, this Interface Office for Technology and Applications. This has been established already. It reports to me, and the job of this office is twofold. One, collate the expertise within the institute to see what technologies are being developed in the lab, and then figure out if some of them can be translated and reach to a deployment, brought to a deployment stage, help the faculty in making that transformation. In terms of technology readiness level, this is a journey from TRL 3 to 7. And second task is to, and more importantly, look for problem statements from the outside. Bring them, collect a suitable set of faculty and have them address those problems. And some of the examples that have already rolled out is something that we all keep hearing about every year is the pollution problem in Delhi. So how do you find a solution? The target is find the minimal intervention to bring the AQI below 100. And that's where this group of faculty is working on, and hopefully we'll have a solution. We already have a solution, with just being analyzed in more detail, and then we'll take it to the government. With this office in place, once we have developed a technology which reaches the deployment state, the actual taking it to the market part, we already have the incubation center on campus, techno park on campus, where industries can come in and set up their offices. So that part is already well established. Okay, I should go back to this because this of course requires the focus on translation research requires our faculty to, at least some of our faculty, to change the way they function, not limit themselves to the lab, step outside. So in August last year, I made this proposal to our faculty and sought their feedback through an anonymous survey. And these are the results of the feedback. About 60% of the faculty responded to the survey. This is a pretty decent number. And of this, ones who responded, 2/3 said it's a good idea and they would like to try it out. So they are interested in doing translation research, and they look forward to the support provided through IOTA. And this number is a quite healthy one, because it translates to about 250 faculty who are interested in this. And even if 100 faculty actually end up doing interesting things, that will completely change the things that are happening in the institute. And about quarter set, it's a good idea, but they are happy doing what they are doing. They don't within the lab, which is perfectly fine. I don't expect, in this 20. If I get 20% of our faculty to do this, I'm more than happy. Because don't expect mathematicians to get out and do things like that. Sometimes they do end up doing it, but they are rare examples. Okay, now that's a key strategy. The two associated strategy. One was strengthening traditional R&D, and this required strengthening. Here is a data point which is concerning. This shows the number of publications per faculty per year over the last 1 decade for 5 old IITs. In the beginning, in 2014, if you see the IIT Kanpur, which is a light blue line, it is number 3, and it's essentially when 1, 2, 3, 4 are essentially very close to each other, delta difference. 10 years down, you see IIT Kanpur is not only number 5, there is daylight between us and the rest. Some of us like to say or explain this away by saying we do very high quality research. So obviously number of publications will be less. But that argument on a closer inspection doesn't stand, because if you see the number of citations per faculty per year, which is an approximate measure of the quality of work, there is a correlation here. We are number 5 here also. So it's clear that we have a problem. And the genesis of this problem, if you look at it, is like beginning of the century, when expectations change. One, we didn't create the necessary R&D infrastructure in the institute that others did. There was money available at some point of time, but we didn't make good use of it, and other IITs did a much better job. So what we need to do in order to address it is quite clear. Several of these things we are doing anyway. Get high quality faculty, high quality students. But target 2 and 3 is where we really need to focus on. Building state-of-the-art research facility, we lack here, seriously, compared to other 4 older IITs. Second, bring large R&D grants. Both are, of course, coupled with each other, but large R&D grants is where a lot of faculty can join hands, do work together, and that will be more impactful than individual works. We have started now improving on large R&D grants. In last, I would say 2-3 years, we have attracted 100 crore plus grants for individual projects or some combined projects. But we need to do this more. And finally, coming to the teaching side, in order to improve the teaching, which is caused by changing expectation, large number of students, changing expectation of students, less time with the faculty. So the proposal that I have is to create this Center for Education, Research and Teaching Excellence, CERTEX in short, with the following aims. One is to conduct research in teaching pedagogy, to understand what today's students require. There is usual way of blackboard teaching no longer works, because attention span of current set of students has reduced. While sitting in the classroom, they have many other things to do. They can always take out their mobile phone and start exploring that. So you need to grab their attention in different ways. Create new teaching tools once you understand what is required, create new teaching tools, share that with all our faculty, we still have outstanding faculty teachers who can do this job very well. So what are they doing? So have them share their knowledge with the younger faculty, and also focus on developing soft skills and technical writing skills of our students. So this also I made a part of the survey I did from the faculty, because this is it's a minefield for when you take it to the faculty, because they are very sensitive about their teaching. So if you say you can teach better, they may take offense. But fortunately, they did not. The response showed that 3/4 of the faculty say this is a great idea and they are going to benefit from it. So that means they realize that they need to do better, and if they can get help, that'll be great. About 12% say it's a great idea, but they are already very good, so they don't need any help, which is perfectly fine. And some don't like it. But very tiny say they do not support. The rest of them were quite all right with this idea. So then this center has also been established now, and led by Professor Arbola, who is a passionate teacher. And it had its first inaugural event just a few days ago, on 1st of March, where the focus was on teaching of core courses. How do you teach core courses? Especially now you have 1300 class size. How do you teach them? Okay, so with this whole action plan, if you think about it, it places different demands on our faculty time. Do translational research, pay a little more attention on teaching, but with a finite amount of time, this will mean that less time to do their R&D, which is a problem, because our promotion policies have been based only on traditional R&D. How many papers you have published, how much research funding have you got, how many PhD students you have graduated. These are the things that are usually looked at. And so along with it, I also propose to create 3 career progression tracks. One usual one, second translational research, and third teaching, with the requirement that a faculty member must excel in any one of the 3. And there can be fluid movement from any one to other. It's not that you are stuck in a track. Anytime you wish, change the track, and then your evaluation will also shift. So I proposed this also in my survey, and the response was interesting. About 54% of faculty thought this a great idea. About 40% thought it's an interesting idea but requires discussion. A small percentage do not like it. So since then we have had a lot of discussion across departments and different committees, and finally, this beginning of this year, the board approved these 3 different career progression tracks. I should mention here, in the 3 tracks, it's not that teaching is an option. Everyone has to teach. So it's not that research track means no teaching. You have to teach. But in the teaching track, you need to teach more. That's the difference. Okay. Now, finally, coming to the supporting infrastructure required to implement all of this. Well, we definitely need many more hostels. We have 9,500 students and we have 8,000 beds if we count honestly. Of course, we don't count honestly because we put 3 beds in a room for 2 and 2 beds in a room for 1. So we count 9,500 beds. But that's seriously suboptimal, because in a hall 2 room, 3 beds, you can't even navigate within the room. Forget about putting a table and chair and study. So I am planning to create 4 new hostels. 15, 16, 17, 18, each with 1,000 beds. So this will add 4,000 beds to make up for the deficit, create a buffer. Then I'll use the buffer to shift out students from 1, 2 and 3, demolish 1, 2 and 3, because if you had gone and seen, they are literally creaking, and structural analysis shows that they're reaching the end of their lives. So one can spend money in extending their life, but it's probably better spent in rebuilding. Now I can already see alarm faces there. Hall 1 is gone, then what will happen? But what I'll promise you is, and we'll rebuild it, and we'll keep the external facade identical. So that if you come in, whenever you come in, you can find your rooms even then. But internally, we'll, of course, make it more advanced, air conditioned. All the new hostel will be air conditioned, but only in the night, so that students don't sleep in the day. Okay. So we need more recreational facilities. Like same large number of body of students. Things haven't kept up. More sports facilities, eating facilities. We are also planning now to have large centralized messing facility instead of having one mess in every hostel. What advantage of a large such facility is that when you can then get a big contractor serving thousands of meals. The quality of meal is higher, much more hygiene, at a lower cost, and the variety of food is also much more. So it will require some effort because our students are lazy. They just want to travel a little bit to reach the mess. This will require them traveling a bit more. Like it's a difference between 50 meter and 200 meter, but that's still 4x. Okay. We had to redo our central library. Nobody reads books these days, so we need to create more study and interaction spaces there. Sustainability is another thing that is essential now. If you look at our water consumption, it's very high, and we are still pumping water from the ground, so that's all that is not good. So I've set a target for ourselves, and by the end of my tenure, we should reach net zero in water and waste. It's a very ambitious target, but that's what we should strive for. It will require, among other things, completely redoing our piping. This piping was done in 60s. Since then, now it has not been touched. So the water pipes have leakages and there are inefficiencies and everything is there. Anyway, so a lot of work to be done. Of course, now how as alumni you come in this in multiple ways. One is to give feedback on these plans. These plans have been evolving. When I made the first presentation, that was to our faculty in August, the plan were different than what it is now. It's more refined. Broad themes were the same, but much more refined plan now. Help in translational research, because that's, although we are new to it, our alumni have been doing it for literally ever. So their knowledge expertise will be very useful. And similarly, the one I already talked about in terms of creating a deep UP as a deep tech hub, and our alumni can really help there. More engagement with students. We have many plans which Amay will tell you about shortly. And then help fund these initiatives. That's the fourth one. I'll come back to this shortly. And finally is this necessary evil of QS ranking, which is de facto standard across the world. 40% of weightage in their ranking is the perception about the institute. And this perception they evaluate by reaching out to industry, alumni, academicians to see what they feel about the institute. And we can give them, suggest them a list of names for this, which we do. So if any of you would like your name to be, for us to suggest your names to QS, which means that you may get an email from them asking you to respond about the ranking to them. All you need to do is scan this QR code. It leads you to a website, register there, give your details, and then we'll take it forward from there. Okay, now I'll come back to the funding. All this pretty ambitious plan requires substantial funding, and there's a concrete number to it, which is $600 million, and I need to raise it over the next 3 years. $600 million is about 5,000 crore rupees. How does this number come about? Well, here's the breakup in computer science language. The hardware, which is infrastructure, buildings, research facilities, is about 265 million. Its breakup is given on the right side of the slide. The middleware, which is the enabling initiatives which use the hardware, it's about 200 million. This here we have IOTA, Sotex, sustainable campus, hospital, which is coming up now. I didn't talk about it, was our incubation center, startup incubation center is doing well, but one thing lacking here is our own student-led startup. There are not many, and that's something I would like to change. Over the next few years, engage our students, facilitate them to come up with ideas and do startups. And finally, application. These are the major translational research initiatives, which is what hopefully will give us a large impact. I already talked about the first 4 of these: AI, drones, medtech, cybersecurity, and the other 3 are also critical. Quantum technologies. Now there is a national quantum mission. There is a lot of activity under that. Sustainability is also very critical. We have Kotak School of Sustainability already established on campus, which is targeted towards developing sustainable technologies. And finally, semiconductors is something India is heavily investing today, and we have strength. We need to build more strength, but we need to invest in that. Where does this money come from? 40% of this I will raise from the government, from internal generation, our earnings, etc. 10% through CSR donations, and that's a more rough breakup that we will probably change it, but as of now, that's the breakup that we have. 10% from CSR donations and elsewhere, and half of it from alumni. So for every $1 that we raise, we hope to get $1 from our alumni. And the good news is that 20% of these funds are already committed. It's not, hasn't happened in just last few months. It's because the hospital project, Kotak School of Sustainability, they had already been established before I joined. So funds have been raised over time for them too. But 20% today is committed, and by the summers, I expect to cross 30, hopefully 40. So that's essentially the plan of action. And if you are coming back to ask from the alumni, if you divide the number expected from the $300 million or 2,500 crore divided by number of alumni, it comes to 2 lakh rupees per alumni per year for 3 years. So that's not a very, on average, not a large number, of course. So it's certainly feasible to raise. So I look forward to working with our alumni to make this happen. Thank you. That's all from my side. So if there are any questions, I'll be happy to answer them. Otherwise, pass on to next with the man. Yeah.
I really love the bold thinking, and I think together we can achieve it. I have one question, is that you talked a little bit about perception. I think to strengthen the perception, we need a better PR. I think the Development Foundation is a path which was not available before. So focus more, because we need to really get the story out. Pick up on a few things and every time promote.
Yeah.
I think that really helps.
Yeah, so absolutely right. I didn't talk about it, but we have strengthened our media cell, appointed 2 advisors, Praveen Tripathi and Shashi Sinha, both alumnus, both are stalwarts in Indian media. So they are crafting our media strategy, and we will of course implement it. I'm also strengthening the media cell. We are hiring 4 or 5 professionals now. Within a month or so, we will have them. We have done the interviews. We are now finalizing the details. So we'll strengthen that also. So you are very right. Telling the story to the outside world is very important.
I think second thing you mentioned, soft skills.
Yeah.
I think that is very important. The question is, we need to have some concrete, demonstrable. For example, like Sudhir Jain went to IIT Gandhinagar. He said, okay, people have been cramming for JEE, of course he never took the JEE. So he was spared that. But you need to come and learn the soft skill. So a time has to be devoted in the, possibly before they go to freshman class, or 1 or 2 before they come, and full-time devote on what we call the soft skills. Communication skills, as well as thinking skills, project management skills, things. And I think something like this would really help. And
Yeah.
the first thing that I would say, confront both at the same time, is some independent activity periods, faculty supervisors. It's not teaching like the old method. It's learning by doing. If you have some of these new innovative parts, ways of imparting education, it will be a long way to improve the perception and the reality.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is what I hope Surtex will tell us, that these are the, after their discussions and analysis, that these are the tools that we can adopt for teaching.
One is that just one suggestion, not observation, but I have been associated with Indian civil industry right from 65 onwards for the last 60 years. But what I find that the approach to industry or the visibility to the industry of IIT like Delhi or Hyderabad is much more than compared to our IIT Kanpur. I feel some efforts, more efforts need to be pushed to approach the industry and motivate them to participate in the industry-related programs and research programs, application programs. That's what I feel more visibility, more efforts are required from IIT Kanpur.
Yeah, absolutely, you're right. And we realize this, and so IITK has been organizing this event called Samvad. Samanvay, with a lot of industries coming in campus.
So, I'm from UP. I'm from Allahabad.
Okay.
Prayagraj.
Oh, brilliant. So am I.
So great. And probably we knew each other through family connections, because I have a lot of connections with Beggarwats. Anyway, so having said that, it's funny, I was talking about this without realizing at all. And everything I was sharing with Mr. Collier fits right into it.
Okay, great.
Get to Yogi and his people. I think they've done a good job with Samsung moving in here. Now it's only a few hours away. We have to get the technology thing going. One of the reasons why, Narayan, you said that we are not that involved with technology, because there's no technology around. So the old idea was that the textile mills will help us, didn't work out. Singhanias had no interest in this. So that's one thing. The other thing I noticed, because I have a lot of other connections, so I get a lot of feedback. So one of my nephews, he led the team to Davos, startups. 12 people he took. It was funded by the founder of Google, one of the founders. Didn't bring up IIT. So when I was doing all this work, he was looking over my shoulder. He says, "Hey, this is exciting. Let's get involved. Do you want me to send a letter off to this person? We get some funding." I said, "Okay, all right, let's see what's going on." So we have to get the message across, obviously, and we've talked about it. And it should be also not only pull, but also push. Okay. And the third thing is, you're absolutely right. The wind is behind your sail. I was just talking to someone who's an advisor to PM, and we talked about it again. He's also very close to what I was doing. He gave me some suggestions on the award, etc. And he says, yes, we recognize the funding has to increase by leaps and bounds. Because this is a high-risk business. Don't ask for success. If you have one succeed out of 100, you've really done well. So I think your timing is great. It is really inspiring. Your analysis, I mean, it's kind of hard work, but it was excellent. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Ishta.
Thank you, sir. I would now request Professor Amey Karkare.
I just need 5 or 10 minutes with you after.
I would now request Professor Amey Karkare, Dean of Resources and Alumni, to familiarize us with the alumni engagement activities.
Thank you, Ishita, and good afternoon, everyone. And it's really an honor to be here. So I belong to Kanpur. I did my BTech in from here only, from 94 to 98. So you can understand that I grew up listening about IIT Kanpur and the kind of thing it is doing, and it was really an honor to join IIT Kanpur and now today stand here and talk to you. So I will be talking about the engagement activities that we are doing as part of DORA office. But before that, I would like to congratulate your batch for doing so much for IIT Kanpur. Some of you have been recognized as distinguished awardees. I can see Abhayji here, Sureshji I don't know, but so let's give a big round of applause to your batch for helping IIT Kanpur. And not just distinguished alumni, others have also contributed a lot, and here are a few of the initiatives that your batch has been helping us with. So when we talk about alumni engagement, there are 3 different pillars. One is the Office of Resources and Alumni, which is under a Dean, that is me. And it's an administrative office which works for enhancing the relationship between institute and its alumni. And it does all the bookkeeping of the resources that we generate, the interactions and so on. We also have an alumni association, which is an independent body, registered body of all the alumni of the institute, and they have an elected president. So currently, Mr. Rakesh Sharma is a president of Alumni Association. He is in India, but currently in Bangalore, working on our alumni satellite office there. And then we have IIT Kanpur Development Foundation, which is the newest entity. It was set up in 2020. Kapil Kaul is the CEO of this IIT Kanpur Development Foundation, and their charter is to engage with alumni, corporates, try to get funds for the institute. So they are into fundraising for the institute. So you might meet us during reunions and otherwise also. So what kind of engagement does our office do? So one of the most popular engagement is reunion. So last year we had 9 reunions, very, very popular. People came here. More than 700 alumni came to Kanpur, and more than 500 family members also joined them. So it's a big success. And this year we had 10 reunions. We are finally at the last reunion, and you can see our calendar. It is quite busy for last 4 weeks. So since 24th February, we are having continuous engagement except one day. So this year's reunion, here are a few glimpses, and traditionally the 25th reunion is the biggest. So we can see large number of students from class of, or previous students from class of 1999. Yeah, so many. And very soon your photographs will also come here. Other than reunion, this year we started what we call Distinguished Alumni Meet. We had 2 sessions, one in Goa in August and another one in New York in USA. So in Distinguished Alumni Meet, we invited a few alumni who have been our distinguished alumnus, and then there was a day-long discussion with them about institute vision and how alumni can help it and how institute should take things forward. And some of these ideas you saw in our director's presentation. So these alumni meet we want to continue over the year to help so that alumni can help us take institute back to the greater heights. We do what is called IIT Karma, where a team of director and few deans visit different cities. So we did 5 cities in USA, 1 in Singapore. So 5 Karma in USA, 1 in Singapore, and 3 in India, Mumbai, Bangalore, Delhi. So USA we had already done it for a couple of years, but India we started last year only, December. And we already had 1 Karma in Australia previously. Soon we will have 1 more in Australia, 1 in Canada, and so on. So the idea is again, distinguished alumni meet, we are meeting only few alumnus, but for a longer duration. Here we want to meet a large number of alumni across batches who are in a city or nearby places, so that we can have dialogue with them, we can engage them with the institute. So all this we request, we do it so that we can request alumni to support us. So there are different ways in which alumni can support us. One of the way is by giving some time to mentor students. So we do few engagement activities like Alma Connect, which is a platform for engaging alumni with the student. So either online or whenever some alumni is visiting Kanpur or nearby area, we request them to visit and give a talk to certain part of student. It could be an institute-wide talk or focus towards certain club or department or some area of mutual interest. So these activities are very popular. So we had last year around 42 sessions in which 48 alumni were engaged and more than 2,500 students benefited from it. So Alumni Connect is more like one-to-many relationship. We also have what is called alumni inspired mentorship, where one alumni can mentor few small number of students, like 4 or 5 students. So this is a online platform on which alumni can register and students register, and we try to do some matchmaking based on common interest. So last year we had 295 alumni who got registered on this platform and 485 students. And many of these mentorship sessions go on during weekends or in night time. So there are many ways where you can give back to institute in terms of resources. You can give to research and innovation through research grants or student entrepreneurship program. As director talked about, we want our students also to get engaged in our SIIC, Startup Innovation and Incubation Center. Similarly, you can give back for community welfare. Our institute runs multiple schools for lower sections of the society, and Rozi Shiksha Kendra, which is a skill development center for training nearby villages, people from nearby villages. You can give back for infrastructure like medical school, new departments, upgrade the labs and student housing. You can support students in terms of scholarships, awards, travel grants, and few other ways. And finally, faculty also for their research, travel, and through some fellowship, chair fellowship or young faculty fellowship. Yeah. So there are many ways in which you can give back. So annual giving, where we request you to give back to the institute. We do some campaigns close to tax saving time. So for example, currently we are having annual giving sessions in India. And batch initiatives. So when batch like you come together, they can also think about supporting institute for some specific initiatives. I will show some examples in next slide. We run few campaigns like a specific for specific goals. So there could be one for lectures or maybe for supporting some student travel and so on. You can support departments. You can also support health and wellness. So our institute counseling service, it has grown since in the last few years, but still the number of students has grown so much that we require more support. So we need better counselor, we need more counselors, better support in our counseling service. So you can give back for health and wellness. You can do planned giving, where you can make IIT Kanpur beneficiary in your will, or you can donate stocks. You can donate towards R&D facilities. And finally, we have started an initiative called Magic, monthly alumni giving for IIT Kanpur. This is targeted toward, especially towards young alumni who have not yet created lots of wealth, but they can donate small amount monthly or at regular interval, so that by the time their 25th or 30th reunion comes, they have also created a corpus for the institute, which can be used in their reunion. So here are few initiatives supported by batches. So IIT Kanpur Museum, gym, some infrastructure projects, this PBCC and maker space, counseling service support, and lot of such initiatives are there. Many scholarships, faculty chairs are also supported by batches. So somebody talked about corporate engagement. So yes, for many years only Dean R&D was kind of responsible for interacting with corporate for research activities. But in recent years, we have started following up with corporates for their CSR funding. And we found that corporates are very, very positive about it. So we have connected with a lot of corporates. At the same time, we are kind of duplicating effort. Many times R&D reaches a corporate with their proposals, we reach with our proposal. So there's a lot of duplication. To avoid that, we started last year itself with a new initiative called IITK Samanvay, where we invited corporates to IIT Kanpur to visit here for a day, and we requested departments to put up stalls with their R&D, the kind of R&D they are doing, and we showcased various projects. So we are happy to say that more than 50 corporates came for this event. We had 18 panelists who talked about what is the expectation from IIT Kanpur, from industry and so on. And more than 50 stalls were set up by different departments showcasing their R&D. So it was, again, we got very good feedback from the industry, and we hope to continue this every year. So as a result of all this, we received donations from the alumni as well as corporates. So it's very important that we provide them with proper report. So our office works on different reports that are given to the donors regularly. So we share fundraising report with the batches regularly. This tells about how much funds have been collected and what kind of programs will be supported. We give project and program reports, which are detailed narratives that are also talking about the photographs of if it's some kind of infrastructure event or the progress, whatever is being made. And we also share financial utilization certificates, which is a requirement for many of the corporates. So these reports are typically sent annually, but depending on the requirement, we can also do it quarterly or half yearly. So for last year, there were 335 total programs which were supported by donors, and we could report 320 out of those 335. Some programs we are still working on finalizing their reports. In terms of big projects like medical school and other, we are able to get 100% reports. Other than that, whenever there is a donor who is giving some fellowship or award, faculty fellowship, student fellowship, student award, we try to do a one-on-one session between the beneficiary and the donor. So this is called IIT Converge. Last year we engaged 76 donors with their beneficiaries. The idea is that when the donor and beneficiary meet together, they share the story about what motivated the donor to create certain scholarship or certain fellowship, and student also talk about, or faculty talks about how they were able to use this support in their project. So donor also feels good about that the money is being used wisely. So some of the feedback that we received, and again people find it very, very useful, and we are hoping that this will motivate students to come back and donate when they are when they have some funds with them. So here is a summary of the campaigns fundraising that we have done over last 5 years. So we are, as we said before IITK DF come into picture, we were getting somewhere around 30 CR per year for from donations, different donations. But since IITK DF, we are now more focused. So our yearly donations have now crossed 150 crore. And as you saw in our director's presentation, this target is now many-fold. So we are going to have some good time, fun time. So here are a few of our major donors who have supported us over last few years, last several years. And some of these could be from your batch, or you might know them personally. So I thank you all of these for supporting IIT Kanpur. I just want to introduce you to the three teams who work day and night. I mean, you saw that we have about 10 reunions. Each reunion lasts for 3 days on average. So 30 days of on-campus activities. But preparation takes nearly a whole year. So here is team from Dean of Resources and Alumni Office, the team from IITK Development Foundation. You must be meeting them around everywhere. And then finally, Alumni Association team, which is more global because they are situated in different countries, different cities. So, so many times you will find these people in different your own city in the chapter. So if you are interested in mentoring alumni, so as I said, there is this platform, Alumni Inspired Mentorship, AIM platform. You can use this QR code to register, to sign up for it, or you can visit DORA website to register for it, so that you can share your experience with the young generation, the current batch of students. So thank you. Our office connects with you through emails most of the time. We are also active on various social media channels. So in case you are not getting any emails, please make sure that you have whitelisted the below mentioned email in your mailing client, or just check which email you are subscribed with, because many people use some dummy Gmail account for different subscription. Make sure nowadays we send many updates. So please make sure that the email ID that you have registered with is an active email ID and you visit it regularly. Thank you. Thank you so much. Yes.
Using WhatsApp.
Yes. So we have recently started WhatsApp. So as reunions are happening, we are enrolling you on WhatsApp channel also. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. We're uploading one document to the computer. Please give us 2 minutes. Thank you for your patience. लेडीज एंड जेंटलमैन, तैयार हो जाइए क्योंकि अब हम यादों की बारात में जाने वाले हैं. I would like to invite Mr. Abhay Bhushan and Mr. Prakash Kemani, our esteemed batch coordinators, and the Yearbook Wizards to officially launch the Yearbook of Class of 1965.
So, what do we do? What do you want us to do?
Just say a few words about the exam.
Okay, sure, go ahead. Prakash.
Way back in 2010, when we had first reunion in IITK, I thought of writing some profiles of all the people who were there at that time, and this was a single, I alone and did the job for all the people, and I didn't know that it was only for circulation within our batch only. So it was a completely, you can say, protected in everything, because I am basically also a IT security person. So that was 2010. In 2015 again they said give us a new version of it. So I gave that new version also. Now when we came to this particular thing, that became the foundation. And then after I had there 15 years more experience, or whatever you wanted to it. So this resulted in the profiles that you see in the new yearbook with you will say, so that it is updated. There is a problem also that this is a time when our colleagues are going away to God. So how to do the job, the profile of people who are no longer here? There, Abhay has done a lot of job of interviewing the families of the people who are no longer here and get the some information which could be added to the profile. And unfortunately, in the last few weeks, I felt sick, and he took over and completed the job. So whatever you see now is a joint work of me and Mr. Abhay Bhushan and
Bhargav.
and Bhargav.
Very important. Yeah, thank you, Prakash. You know, absolutely, Prakash Khemani led the charge to get our profile started with the e-book. And one advantage of this was, 23 of our batchmates have passed away, many of them in the last 15 years. And he captured the profiles of them for many of them who are not here. But we have included that in the yearbook with maybe some updates from their spouses, the surviving widows, or their children. And it was extremely fortunate that this effort was started earlier. Now, this is all dedicated to our teachers who taught us, starting with Kelkar and Norman Dale of Kayak, but more importantly, all the faculties and each of us, because in addition to faculty, we learn from each other. And this yearbook is a product of all the alumni giving their inputs, photographs, their comments, and their profiles. So it's really our team effort of our batch, and with the help of IITK Development Foundation and IIT Kanpur. So I'm just going to quickly start with our batch. And of course, when we got the photograph, there were no captions. We did not know who he was. So after 60 years, to accurately get that who is in that picture. So we were able to accomplish with the help of each of you.
With 0 defects.
No, with each of, but some professors or staff members who were there, we could figure out. Okay, so this is just how we were at that time, and the faculty who was there in our pioneer days. And there's a little forward, but what's important in this is that our first 5 years is really a history of IIT Kanpur as seen from student perspective. It's all accurate in terms of what happened. And if you see in the bottom, that's the application form that we all filled out. And what is interesting is all the early faculty and directors said that Pioneer batch was the best batch. So JEE does not assure it. They got the praise, they had the right education, right initiative. In fact, we can also say that JEE sometimes, the 2 years at Kota don't really help in the overall development. And so that's why the decompression or soft skills that Manind is suggesting is so important. And this is the information booklet. There was a textile engineering mentioned. Aeronautical started in the second year, but textile engineering never took off. It's not needed. And our first class on campus on August 9th, Prakash Khemani had captured in his own memoirs. And what Professor Kelkar, we marched, it was mentioned. I'm just going to quickly glance through. The Shishupal was also mentioned earlier. And it's our life, our early professors, what they taught us, what people recollected, and it just goes on. So this is something that IIT Kanpur will have as a gift to us, and I've talked to Kapil, and I'll modify it for general use. So all of them will have that history, and you can have that as a book. So this is just quickly going to go through this. And we had our drama plays, and since we have no girls, all the girls that you see there are actually boys.
And Abhay,
Okay, yeah.
I had to kiss one of them.
I remember that because the play required
That
that.
was my first kiss.
Okay. And that's there's Shankar Sanyal on the bottom left in the lower picture, and that is Raj Mohindra as Helen of Troy, and he had to kiss the boy. Okay. No, there's no gay. He was not, neither of them were gay.
My wife is watching. So.
Okay, I mean, we have this, I sent the link to everybody. So this is being carried on. And again, you can see all these things. Now, this is something that Shishupal used to do, makeup and everything. So he dressed us. In the center is me as a sadhu, and Viren Makkad and Amrit Mani as the two disciples. And this is Kharagpur with the girls at last. I mean, the question is, the only girl to be found, of course, they were faculty wives, who were very beautiful. They were off limits, okay? And they were MTech PhD students, some women, but they wouldn't even talk to us and we wouldn't talk to them. I don't know what it was. In those days, the boy had to be much older than the girl, or at least older. And if you're an older girl, off limits. Okay. And then there's some sports activities, what we started, the Punky Canal that was mentioned, and our teams and things. So this just kind of captures our just activities in our life. But I'm coming to the profiles very quickly. So it just kind of goes on through our group tours. So interesting thing is, even now, being in the residential campus, eating together, studying together, doing these strong bonds. And that's some of the advantages the IITs have over other universities. So just kind of quickly go through. So these are profiles, and they kind of, capture. So we have captured all the different profiles. And we're going to add a few more so we can capture as much as possible, because otherwise we will not be get 2-3 years from now. So I'm just going to quickly kind of go through it. So there are 59 profiles already. We'll probably get to about 64. I'm trying to collect them. So, and these are people not only who graduated class of 65, but real pioneer batch. Like Arvind Mathur is here. He went to Jamalpur. Israni, and they're also contributing to IIT Kanpur. So there's something, the relationship is the feeling of goodness we have. So I'm just going to quickly go through it, not spend much time on it. I want to come to the last section so you get an idea of the yearbook. And we're going to have this printed after it's proofread and everything, and ebook will be available on websites, right, Kapil? Yep. For all the other batches to see. So I'm just going to see just very quickly. So all of the profiles are there, and we're going to verify it with each person, because people are very particular about their profiles. I still keep getting a lot of emails and phone calls. My profile, I want to make sure it's right. So please send me a copy before you print it. So, and the interesting thing is, doing this project along with Prakash, I really found out what our fellow friends have done in the 6 years, inspiring. Like, I interviewed Prakash Sachan, he's here. And I just was marveled at his commitment to society, to helping people. And that is one thing that I would say to Professor Agarwal, and let's also emphasize in our fundraising what we are doing for society, because that is what actually excites the common people. It may not do the scientists and all these things, but the common person gets a better perception if they know that IIT Kanpur is helping people around. And we have a lot of good initiatives about it. So we are just going to quickly go. So this is the last thing over here. This is just going to get now into V's, and S. They're all alphabetically. Viren Makkar. Okay, this is the other part, which is when we go to a graduation. This was a historic convocation with Sarpalli Radhakrishnan coming in, the first one at IIT Kanpur. So it's captured there. And then our reunions, I'm going to just stop here, okay? Our reunions are the ones that brought us closer together. And thanks to IIT Kanpur, when we started having them in India from 2000 on, it has been very, very good for us, because people in the US and Canada we were having our reunions there, but we never got to see our alumni here. And it's wonderful. And I think I'm not going to cover gifts and things, because Shankar is going to do that.
Okay, thank you so much. And I really appreciate, and this yearbook is now launched, but the final print will come probably about a month. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bhushan, Mr. Khemani, and everyone whose contributions made this yearbook possible. And now we move to a special segment of a program, one that celebrates the spirit of giving back and honoring excellence. I request Mr. Shankar Sanyal to share with us the inspiration behind establishing the Pioneering Research and Innovation Award.
Thank you, Ishita. Make sure I get this sound right. Normally I don't write things down, but today I'm nervous. So, good morning. This has been a very inspiring day. First with Dr. Agarwal, then with Professor Karkare, and then Abhay. Now we're in the mood of celebration. Where is my main cheerleader? Rajat, can we have the IIT? Hi. Okay, that's wonderful. So this particular award, unbeknownst to me anyway, falls right into what Dr. Agarwal was talking about. Okay? But before I get into that, I just want to say something on behalf of all my pioneering batch, that we are really honored and humbled that you gave us this opportunity to pay back to you. You know, this is probably the last time we'll get together. We are getting on in years. So it's just wonderful, and thank you for all the people who work so hard.
It cannot be lost. We are still positive.
Okay, there you go. See, never give up. Now, what is the award? Just to put it very simply, it is to recognize, encourage, and promote research and innovation that's happening in IIT. That's as simple as that. We've added a few more things to it. We said we'll give 5 lakhs to a faculty professor below 40, okay? And then 5 lakhs to a student. To some extent, I feel uncomfortable with it, because that's what you get if you bowl one ball in the IPL. So hopefully we'll kind of raise it so that, you know, we come to some par with our cricketers. Okay. Now, why did we choose to do it now? Well, the simple answer is very simple. As you have noticed, every time we had a reunion, it was an occasion to give back. So in year 2000, we created this building with your help. In 2010, and followed with 2015, we created an opportunity school for the underprivileged children, which is again what Abhay was saying, how we get involved with society. So that's been our history. Now the question was, what would we do now? Now we did want to do something special. And the reason it was special, because I know our friend Vidyasagar Narang, you know, he lives in Hyderabad, clean air, clean water. So, you know, but most of us feel that maybe this is the last time we're going to get together. And so we had to do something special. And so this explains a little bit of the timing. So when we got together in the middle of December, we said, what are we going to do? And we looked around for an inspiration. And the inspiration came right out of the mouth of Dr. Kelkar, where he said, when we created IIT, the spirit of IIT was originality, the creation of originality. And so right out of that, the idea came out of creating this award. So this was exciting, but this was middle of December. How can you get something from middle of December to today, March 7th? And all of us have heard about the Sarkari aspect of India. Can't happen. Okay, let's give it a try. And Rajat championed it. Then, you know, Dr. Agarwal supported it. And the whole school got behind it.
And what happened is really miraculous. Now, of course, UP is known for miracles, like the Kumbh Mela, 65 crore people, more than half the world's population, at least half the India's population showed up there. So we are used to miracles. So what are the miracles that took place? First of all, by the beginning of January, we got word back from IIT Kanpur that, yes, we are behind you, go for it. And then, of course, the batch got behind. They said, no problem. How much money do you need? We'll support it. You'll be happy to know within a few weeks, as of today, we have over 1 crore in the bank, which is almost more than 1/3 of the way for the total endowment, but more than enough to cover a few lakhs that we're handing out. What was the third miracle? The third miracle was the fact that all you took the time within a couple of weeks to send in some very strong submissions. For a few days it was very slow, and I was a bit worried. I was calling Professor Karkare. I said, hey, what's going on? We're not getting it. What's going on? All you told me about innovation. We'll get to you. And sure enough, we had 14 submissions from faculty and 14 submissions from students, all in a matter of a few weeks. Then we got a very strong jury together. We had 7 people each in each of the awards we separated out. And it was personally led by Dr. Agarwal. We had some of the most senior faculty involved. For the faculty award, we had an external entrepreneur and myself as the batch representative. For the student award, we changed the composition slightly, and the president of the student, Jim Khanna, was part of it. And we also had external people and myself. And then we had a meeting just a few weeks ago on 27th of March. I'll remember that for a very long time. And it was a very intense discussion. But it told me that everybody on the jury had actually read the submissions, understood the submissions. And I'll tell you something. I've never seen a director so animated, because Dr. Agarwal was leading the thing. This question, that question, what are you doing? Yeah. So we really studied it. So today when we announced the awards, it's because of a lot of thought that went into it. Okay. I'd just like to turn into one other thought now. And I just want to sort of share the feelings of the batch with you. As we sit here, we just don't see you. I, for example, see Dr. Kelkar sitting here, very thoughtful. I see Dr. Muthana. Is he going to get it right or wrong? Okay, because he was much more of a disciplinarian. Okay. I see Dr. Sarma there. I see Dr. Rajaraman there. I see Dr. J.D. Agarwal there. I see our sports professor, in a sense, Mr. Bhargav there. They're all here. Way at the back, I see Shishupal, our bus conductor, our drama teacher, and the absolute cheerleader. If there should be a statue for a cheerleader in IIT Kanpur, it should be Shishupal, and who has a very interesting history. They're in here in this room with us. I think they're feeling quite proud. Okay? And we feel that the trust they reposed on us, the torch they gave to us, we have carried it. But I feel even better, we all feel better, that today we are passing this torch to another generation. So all the love and the ambition we had for IIT, we feel very comfortable today that that's going on and that's going forward. Now, being an IIT guy, we're always ambitious. We're always A-type people, so we always like to stretch our goals. So my hope is that one day that this award will be equivalent to the Bhatnagar Award, the Infosys Award. There's nothing stopping us. If we go through the plan, the roadmap that Dr. Agarwal laid out, which all of you bought into, we can do that. So, from our side, from our batch, our blessings to you. May you prosper, and we'll have a good few days, and we'll have an interesting session for the next few minutes. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Sanyal. I now request Professor Manind Agarwal to kindly announce the faculty recipient of the award.
Oh, it's not announced yet.
Not
Secret. This is new for me. Announcing a winner.
There's a microphone. Yeah.
I've seen this done many times on TV. I've seen this done many times on TV. Getting a chance to do it myself, but okay. So I can't read out the nomination. There were many nominations. Many of them very strong nominations, but we had to select one, and that happens to be Tushar Sanyal. Working work, and I hope that he continues excelling. And very young, as you can see, literally just out of school, already made a mark for himself. Congratulations.
Sanyal sir also present the check.
I would request Mr. Sanyal to please come forward to present the check.
ये कौन प्रेजेंट करेगा? आजा, ये मैं करूँगा.
So one by one पहले वो कर ले फिर ये कर लेते हैं सर. आप ज्वाइन करें. Check yes please. Can you please? Yes please. Sir, thank you. Sir.
I think you don't want to have one picture with this.
Right. This feels like IPL now. You
Requesting the recipient of the faculty award to kindly come and share the acceptance speech.
I will bring the microphone.
So it's a really pleasure and extremely honored, also pressurized now to carry the legacy your badge that has set up, and also to inspire new generation whatever way that I can. One of the faculties also who are like nearby your batch, Professor Sandeep Tiwari. He also visited us and mentioned that like while guiding or while doing variety of things, don't kill yourself. So because we have to stay a longer period to make not as acute impressions but as a chronic impressions to the society that will last longer, and that I will keep in mind. like with God's grace, I come up with a good surgery, and now everything is fine. Hopefully within a month I will be as agile and as younger that I was a few months back. But this gives me immense pleasure and also a lot of inspiration to embed to my next generation students. Thank you very much, and I will assure you that whatever things that you are ensuring on me, it will be well kind of dispersed to the next generation of students. Thank you very much.
Requesting Mr. Shankar Sanyal to kindly announce the student recipient of the award.
Okay. Now I should say a few words about this student. First of all, it was very difficult to choose. You had so many strong submissions. So everyone is a winner. Look, everyone who made the submission is a winner. And those people who are not in this room for various reasons, they're also winners. Okay, so this is just a way of celebrating. Okay, so it's not a question of winners and losers. This particular award, I think, stood out because it reflects some of the direction that you're taking, some of the best things. It was someone his technology was developed in seismic research. He takes that technology and transforms it into health. Because what he was trying to do was to replace an expensive MRI machine with ultrasound using very advanced algorithms to get to the same level of resolution. And there you go. Someone says this is interesting because he himself is an expert.
Yeah, because we use the seismic, to explore the oil and gas. I thought for mobile oil and ExxonMobil.
Right.
And so I was more on the production side, but seismic is more on the exploration side.
Yeah. And you won't be surprised he did work with ONGC. Okay. So that's one thing. The other thing was it sounded too good. Okay. In fact, we made a call to one of the professors and said, hey, is this true? Is this really true? Now, here's the thing. We really don't know. Okay? He's just now, the lab things have been done. It's outstanding. But what impressed us, he's putting in a patent. So you can see the maturity of this organization. They are also engaged in actively negotiating with the health to do a field trial. And he's been shortlisted. So you can see the maturity of this place. So I don't know if he's going to succeed. If he does, oh my God, this award will now become even more famous. And if he doesn't, that's fine. The next one. Because in my own life, I used to be a product developer for 40 years. I did about 100 products. Only 3 succeeded. But each one of them maybe made $10 to $20 billion. So it paid my salary. So that's how things go. So with that introduction, I'd like to announce the name. Not that I have to see it, but just in case. Just in case. Do you want to pull this out for me? He is Vikas from the Department of Earth Sciences. Yes, please. Would you like to join us? Please, Dr. Agarwal. Don't be shy. If you do what you've done, you'll get a lot more of it.
Sir, please have a look, sir. Please wait. Yes, please. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Requesting Professor Agrawal to please present the check.
Oh, I'll hold for you. But you've got to hold the check. That's more important.
Sir, please, sir.
Thank you, sir. Does it feel good to be a winner?
Congratulations.
Okay.
I now invite the recipient of the Student Award to share the acceptance speech.
Good afternoon, everyone. Respected Director of IIT Kanpur, esteemed professors, and distinguished class of 1965. I am deeply honored and humbled to receive this Pioneering Research and the Innovation Award, initiated by the esteemed class of 1965. Standing here today, I feel an overwhelming of gratitude for the journey that has led to me for this brilliant mind and that have inspired me for this award. And I think this award is not just a recognition of my work, but a testament to the power of the collective support, curiosity, and the belief that anything is possible. Thank you.
Professor Agrawal, we would be honored to hear your thoughts on this commendable initiative. May I invite you to the podium, please?
I have this problem of static thing in my hand, and then every time get an electric shock.
Up electric.
Well, what can I say? I mean, I just outlined my key strategy, and this is right at the heart of it. And it's also developed independently, as mentioned. I think it's what I feel really heartening to realize is that it's, a lot of minds are thinking probably in the same direction, which gives me even more confidence that we are going in the right direction. And this award will play a role of a catalyst in our community amongst faculty and students. So here is a really something to aspire for, and while each one of us is driven by some fire from within, that this is what I would like to do, this is where I would like to go. But awards like this always make you happy that, okay, there is an outside world who has recognized the achievements one has done so far. And it certainly motivates one to go further, and greatly thankful to the pioneering batch for thinking of this, for instituting this in very short time. And we have outstanding winners this year, and I'm sure that as we push further in this direction, we will have even more outstanding winners in future. So thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for your kind words. Ladies and gentlemen, as all good things come to an end, we have reached the end of today's ceremony. I would request Mr. Kapil Kaul, CEO, IIT Kanpur Development Foundation, to kindly deliver the vote of thanks.
Thank you, Shita. So one final time for this season, and what a befitting end to this reunion season with IIT Kanpur hosting first ever Diamond Jubilee reunion for the Pioneer batch. So this is a really special one, the first one. So we'll need, it'll always remain close to our hearts. Thank you to all of you, all the Pioneer batch, alumni who've turned up here. You've come from all across the world. It means a lot to us. We clearly see the love that you carry for the institute and what you're doing. The building that we are standing in right here, you played a role in getting this up. The Opportunity School, which is becoming slowly a small institution itself for the community around the campus, and this award that you established today, I'm very sure it's gonna grow significantly and also help IIT Kanpur majorly in its journey ahead. So thank you. We are really grateful. I personally feel really lucky to be here with all of you today. It's a very special one. I won't forget thanking Professor Agarwal for coming in, delivering his presentation. One last time, this presentation, I know from another couple of weeks, this is going to change completely, because now we're going to shift gears. So far, we were, I would say, in gear one. We're going to move in very soon into gear 2 and 3. So time for us to start looking at different things. Professor Karkare, for being such a big support to the whole team here in the reunions. This is the last one for this season. Most importantly, the team at IITKDF and DORA, who played such a significant role in us conducting a very successful reunion season. My sense is that this year we had close to 900 alumni who visited the campus. So that's a big jump, and they've done a fabulous job. Everything went seamlessly, almost. So it should always be almost, because that leaves that opportunity to improve the next time. So great work by Sakshi, Ankita, Fiza, Piyush, Ishita, Poonam, Vanish, Rajat, Priyadarshini, everyone. Everyone in the team has contributed. People from Dora office, they've played such. Shweta is not here. She's usually the heart of our reunions. For the first half, she was holding fort, hosting all the events. So it's a great team effort. I'm so grateful to each one of you, and we look forward to starting the reunion season for 2025 in another 8 months or 9 months. So thank you very much. With that, we'll now proceed for the batch photograph. Thank you everyone. Are we playing national? Sorry. So before we close, we'll play the national anthem. Arun?
Agio All Star Stage, from March 6th, download the app and wait for now.
अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड़ उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तब शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तब जय गाथा जन गण मंगल दायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे
We'll go
We will have a batch photograph outside with director, requesting everyone to kindly gather in the waiting area.